Hey there, Nomads of Lore. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Shawn.
And together we are Mead and Mischief, your home away from no home. Today we're going to be doing a review on Netflix's hit, Arcane. After being poked and prodded and pushed and told and sternly told that we needed to watch this, we decided, both Shawn and I, kind of independently decided we were going to watch Arcane, and it's intense to say the least.
But
we're gonna
intense again.
Yeah, intense. The word I never say anything else. Just kidding.
So intense.
We're going to
intensely so.
We're gonna break this down into a couple little pieces. Start out with a spoiler-free, just thoughts, generic thoughts on
should you watch this?
Yeah, should you watch this? Did we like it? That kind of thing. And then we'll deep dive a little bit into it and kind of talk more about story and plot and things that we thought were awesome and whatever else. So, should they watch it?
That depends. It's pretty dark and very intense. That is as much as I joked about it. There was another review where we were both struggling to get off of the word intense. But in this, that's a really good word for Arcane. This show is extremely emotionally impactful. It has extremely well realized characters that a lot of really crappy things happen to, with some really serious emotional roller coaster arcs. And so if you are extremely affected emotionally by things, or even fairly, pretty emotionally affected, and that is a concern for you, this may not be the show for you. And that's the biggest group of people I think that this is not really for. This is not remotely a kid's show. I know it's animated. It was not billed as such. It's been billed as a animated show for adults and whatever else. And so it's not billed as that. It's not a surprise. But there were confused parents letting their kids watch Sausage Party out there. So it's worth saying this is not a kid's show. Not for the same reasons as Sausage Party. At least I assume. Never watched it. Never planned to. But anyway, but yeah, that's the biggest thing. If you are interested in super interesting characters with significant emotional trauma and mysteries and drama and excitement and really kick butt action, etc. If you're into those things, then this show is absolutely a show for you. It is absolutely worth watching if you're into those kind of things. What do you want to add to that?
Yeah, just reviews you trust, which hopefully we are some of them. But I think, as long as there's a little bit of cussing, there's one like kind of mild nudity thing, but it's not sexual, and yeah. Anyway, but as long as you're okay,
that may be concerning to certain people, but you can check with your specific lists of content resources if that's something you're concerned about.
So if you like Brandon Sanderson meets Grimdark, if you like Shutter Island, if you like Split, if you like Joker, these kind of things, you're gonna be interested in this for sure. There's some.
If you like Attack on Titan, this is probably up your alley.
Attack on Titan
with even better character work.
Yeah, and that's saying something for me, at least. That's saying something. This is something that will stick with you for sure, long after you watch it. I've been finished with it for days, and it's come into my mind several times thinking about the implications of the end, the major implications of the end. So yeah. So if you like that kind of stuff, you'll definitely like it. Don't go into it expecting it to be lighthearted and fun at all. But
there is some comedy. There are some light moments. It's not. So it's not just horrible grim darkness. Jonathan said Brandon Sanderson meets grimdark, which I think is a great description and descriptor. I don't read enough grimdark to be able to tell you where it ranks on the grimdark scale, but some really awful stuff happens to characters that we care about in the show. and it's pretty rough in moments. It's extremely rough and even hard to watch in certain moments. But also, along with that, there is some humor and some light moments and some really interesting characters and enjoyable to watch characters and people that we like that not everything bad happens to. And also, there's some really, really, really kick butt, well choreographed action stuff. That's actually what I was thinking when I interjected and added Attack on Titan. Is it's not as much the giant creatures, going and eating everybody and whatever else from Attack on Titan, but that just super well shot, well choreographed action sequences. It had some really, really neat fight scenes and all
that
kind
coming
of stuff.
from the guy who's not big on action.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that says a lot.
Yep.
Another thing I will say is art style is phenomenal.
Yes, it is.
Really,
good.
really
Beautiful.
cool. Yeah, there's a little bit of like 2D-ness going on top of this 3D, beautiful.
But well done, because you say that, and sometimes 2D, 3D mix doesn't work very well.
It's almost it gave me kind of the what is that movie with oh gosh. I almost had it. Scanner Darkly.
Oh, gotcha. Kind of
it
rotoscope.
Almost had rotoscope
rotoscope,
kind of feel a little bit, especially in some scenes. But yeah.
Jumping in real quick to let you guys know that we are very proud to be able to offer you, our viewers, a free month's trial to Audible. Now, you guys, if you've been following us for a while, know that Jonathan and I really love Audible. We've been using it for years and years. And we just recently gained the ability to share with you guys a free month of Audible. You can get that free month of Audible by going to audibletrial.com/nomads. As a part of that month, you, of course, get access to a free book, which is really, really great. But we would be extremely nearsighted to not also mention that you get access to the entire Plus catalog. For example, I was able to listen as a part of that Plus catalog without having to use any of my credits or anything else to finally get the chance to listen to 2001: A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. And there are hundreds of other titles and amazing Audible originals. Our recommendation for this video is going to be Body Keeps the Score by Bessel A. van der Kolk. Really, really cool. I found out about this book by listening to an Audible original, which you also have access to as a part of that month free trial. And because you have access to all of those Audible originals and all the podcasts and all the amazing things, I actually found out about this through the 3-Day Effect by Florence Williams, which is an excellent, really short Audible original that looks at nature and how nature can be used to help heal trauma, and looks at different abuse victims and victims of PTSD and all kinds of different things, and how nature has been able to be used to help heal some of those things. So if Arcane strikes a nerve in some of these areas, these are really great ways that you can take a look at this, and you get access to all of those things, and you also get to help out Jonathan and I and our channel. So again, that link to get that free month is audibletrial.com/nomads. audibletrial.com/nomads. So check that out, get a free month on us, and let us know what you think about it.
Loved it. So with that being said, if you want to watch it, if you haven't watched it, you should probably click off now.
Yep.
Because we're gonna start talking about some actual parts of this thing.
Yeah.
And what was impactful. So what was the biggest, most impactful moment for you besides the end? Let's say before the end. What was the biggest, most impactful moment for you? What's your most impactful moment?
So I don't know. I honestly don't know if I can reasonably answer that question straight out, because there is so much. In fact, it's worth saying that if this video does even remotely well, I am 100% sure we will release quite a bit more Arcane content, because there is so much to talk about with this show. And so if you are interested in that, make sure you give us a like and watch the video and subscribe.
Give us
and
some
all that
ideas
stuff.
if you want to see stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All
Stick
of
it down
that.
there.
Let us know what your thoughts
Come
on
join our
on
Discord
Arcane.
community. Give us some thoughts.
Yeah,
We can talk
absolutely.
about things.
If enough of you hop on, we'll make a nice little category for us over on Discord.
That's right.
But so I don't know if this is really my favorite or my most impactful moment, before the end or whatever. But what I want to talk about is specifically Silco and some of his ending arc. And because Silco is a super fascinating character, and of course, we're in our spoiler filled section. His ultimate demise is okay, but it's honestly pretty sad because I could have seen him doing your favorite, a redemption arc, honestly, because there's a lot going on there, and him and Vander and their relationship, and where that was, because as Vander is very much painted in all, he's in this kind of really gray light. Almost all the characters are all very gray. There's not very many characters that would be true, good characters or true evil
Knight in
characters.
shining armor.
Yeah, exactly. And so Silco to me was super interesting because he is extremely unlikable for the first good chunk of him being around. But as you see him start to care for who he's calling Jinx, right? Care for Jinx, care for Powder, and he's identifying with her and seeing himself in her, and that sort of dark mirror there. And some of that is, honestly, that was pretty heart-wrenching. Seeing, because you feel like there's a lot more going on with him, and he's not just this bad guy. You get the impression, or I did, that even back when he and Vander were antagonistic, even like pre the show, back in the original war or whatever the heck was going on, it may not have just been Vander is the good guy and Silco is the bad guy. I mean, and so there's a lot that's still up in the air we don't know about, some of it which we may never find out. But he was just extremely compelling and interesting, and I thought, even for the bad guy, rather tragic. And so that was really interesting and impactful to me. So that's the one I'm going with. Again, I don't know that that's the most. I think, if I started to kind of spool out all the various things, who knows how many things I could put in this as this thing. So what about you? What is your most impactful other than the end? Like
Shawn said, there's so many different scenes that are impactful, that are like thrown at you from the side. You're thinking, oh, this is the direction the show's going. Oh no, it's not. So many times. But for me, I think one of the top ones would have to be Jace's friend Victor, the cripple guy, and his kind of turn. Because, Jace really wanted to help him, wanted to heal him using their invention of I don't even know what the thing's called now.
The hex
core.
Hex core. Yeah,
hex
I
core.
Right.
Is that right? Yeah, hex core. The hex core stuff. He wanted to heal him, and then of course he tries and then ends up going to an older friend, and we see this backstory of him going originally to him and going, something's not right with this. I need to stay away from this guy because he's
hurting the beast.
He's going too far with science, basically, and both Victor and Jace wanted to use their science for good. For
a long time, and Victor was the main one that was pushing for
exactly. And Jace, I honestly thought for a long time that Jace was going to be the one that was going to turn around, especially when he started using his hammer thing.
Right.
I was like, oh, he's going to be the one that ends up doing something terrible, which, he did kill the one kid or whatever. But he's going to do something terrible and just go off the deep end. And it actually ended up being Victor. And man.
But even that was tragic, and
it was super tragic. And the way he killed I wish they would have spent a little bit more time on his relationship with his secretary girl, whatever. I can't remember her name, but the one with the glasses, where she walked in, tried to save him.
Right.
And
we didn't build up as much.
We didn't. That is one little tiny nitpick I could have of this show. Very few things that I could nitpick on the show, but I wish they would have spent a little bit more time with her, just to give her character a little
more emotional and logical connection to her.
But it was so impactful as is, just the way he just kept going back to it, trying to heal, trying to get better, trying to, and it just made it worse and made it worse and made it worse. Anyway, so that would be my scene. Let's talk about what we're excited about for season 2. Before we talk about the ending, because I think we definitely need to talk about the ending.
We'll talk about the ending at the end.
At the end, that's right. So, what are you looking forward to?
So
for season 2?
The number one thing that I am looking forward to as the show progresses, because at this, we at this point know from history that Netflix is probably going to milk this as long as they can, and whatever else. But my number one thing that I am looking forward to is more world building stuff. I mean, the most awesome thing about the show so far has been the characters, and of course, ending leaves all kinds of implications for the characters that remain, and the ones that don't, and everything else, and the ones that may be still alive that we don't know. I mean, who knows?
Yet.
There's lots of stuff. So that's interesting, and I am 100% sure we're going to continue to get all kinds of character stuff. And I think we're still gonna continue to get a Jinx powder. I don't know that the ending. We'll get to talking about the ending in a minute. But before I distract myself into talking about the ending early, I'm excited about world building, like the way the magic or the science or the whatever you want to call it that works, and kind of connections, and Heimerdinger's character, and he clearly knows a lot more than he is telling on, and and all of that, and so I kind of like what you talk about with Attack on Titan and the world continuing to get bigger and bigger. I think we're going to get that in Arcane.
We get a touch of the world expanding with Mel and the Medarda family and their world or whatever is going on there. I would definitely like to see that. I think there's so, if they do the same thing, like I know there's a lot of shows that kind of do the same formula again. Right. And I think if they did this same formula again, it would be phenomenal again, because there's telling a different character set from somewhere else. But I think at the same time, they're going to have to, like you said, expand a little bit more, show us a little bit more of what's going on, the overarching story of the worlds and what's going on with the battle, a battle to come or war to come or whatever is going to be there. Why are they fighting and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited for whatever they do. I think it's going to be phenomenal. I hope a bunch of people watch it, because the more people watch it, the more likely it is that we definitely get a season 2, maybe a season 3 and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, excited about that. So the ending.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Builds up to the ending. I think, that's the ending is.
I was rooting. I knew, because I've played the game, so I knew Jinx was a character.
Played LOL.
And so I knew that we were headed to Jinx becoming Jinx and not Powder staying as Powder. But I was the whole time I was still rooting for Powder and for Vi to help her, and it was heart-wrenching to see that ending. Mm-hmm. And the you're like at every point along the way, as she was picking up the blue hex core thing to put it into the little rocket launcher or whatever the heck the thing was, and then
the big bada boom.
Yeah. I was just like, no, please don't do this, no. And of course it happens. So what were your thoughts on the?
Well, I was telling Jonathan, I told my wife right after she and I watched it, that I don't honestly remember. Now, I didn't tear up ever in the show, and I've cried in movies and stuff. In fact, must have been in some weird emotional state, but I remember I was probably a teenager, all those hormones and such. But I remember one really stupid episode of Happy Days making me cry one time. So, I have definitely cried and stuff before and definitely have felt emotions and stuff. I don't tend to get super wrapped up emotionally in what I'm watching, not typically. And I tend to view things a little bit more in an academic, analytical way. And so having said all that disclaimer, I don't remember ever being as emotionally impacted in a show or movie as this. I mean, I after we watched the final episode, Rochelle and I were sitting in bed, and I just was basically sitting at the end of the bed, kind of staring off into space, thinking about it and whatever else, and I've never done that at the end of a show before. Yeah. I've watched some weird brain bendy stuff, and I'll get up and do my whole pace around the room and act like a crazy man talking to myself, and whatever else about it. So I've thought about stuff, but this, not only was I thinking about it, but I was feeling about it, and so the whole I mean, I knew we were, well, at the end, I mean, I thought we might move to, I mean, even though she was going to be, I don't know, I've not played League of Legends, and so I don't know whether Jinx is a villain in the game or not. She's a playable character, isn't she? Mm-hmm. So, and I don't know much about the story. Again, I've not played it, so I don't know. But I for a while in the 8th episode was thinking we might end up getting a Jinx, like a basically kind of come to peace with being Jinx and being a part of her character, but still being able to have some redemption at this point. And I thought that we might be getting there.
Ending, yeah.
Yeah. And I did not anticipate it going the way, and I did not anticipate her blowing up the thing. That's the most surprising thing of any. I mean, that's huge. I mean, not only did she embrace her villainness, and there's still plenty of room for back and forth as the seasons progress, I think. But not only did she embrace her villainness, she, I think genocide is probably too strong a word, but she blew up a whole bunch of people and intentionally. Now, she'd killed people before. I mean, that was that's not new. But then, of course, Vi's character there was huge and crazy, and just her arc was intense, and it was difficult, and it was painful, and it was just is almost too much there to even put fully into words. Obviously,
Vi was almost like, obviously the Jinx character was the one you're like most heartfelt for, because she was a little girl and almost innocent at the time that this whole change started. But Vi was one of those that it's just like you everything that could ever possibly happen wrong at the beginning of this kid's life happened. And it just kept happening, and then she gets put in prison in a concrete box and whatever, can't do anything about anything. And of course that's when Jinx becomes herself. And anyway, yes.
Well, in the back and forth there, we haven't even talked about the way the show portrays mental illness and her psychotic, schizophrenic break, essentially. There is really, really crazy. Even up into and including the physicality and the way she was shot. It actually, right when Rochelle and I were watching this, it reminded both of us of the book The Body Keeps the Score, talking about PTSD and talking about all that kind of stuff. And just the effect that all of these things had on her, and this is just culminating in this super intense and impactful scene and episode and everything else, and just kind of leaves the whole world shattered. I mean, we've left on a cliffhanger, a cliff blued upper,
cliff blued upper,
whatever else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy.
The split personality stuff, the characters that she had in her head, that from her past, that she almost used conversationally to justify her actions or to justify to rationalize her actions. Yeah. It's very, very, very impactful. I like you, whenever I got done, it was late at night, and Shauna was already asleep, and I was just sitting there watching on my iPad, and I had my headphones on, and I got done, and I was like, what did I just see? Like, it's a freaking video game TV show,
Right?
And it's like, holy crap. I mean, it's very much how I felt whenever I watched the first season of Attack on Titan. It's just like, holy crap, this little thing that I thought was just a cartoon, it has had such an impact on me in what I'm feeling and how I look at mental illness. I mean, that's like, that's big. And it was intense, I guess, that word that we use so often.
Absolutely.
But anyway, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Our strange look into
Blow this video up so we can talk about Arcane some more.
Yeah. And what I'm sure there's lots of news that we are not aware of as far as a season 2 coming and all that kind of stuff. So let us know in the description what you know about that, what's going on there, and we will we'll definitely try to cover it as it comes along. So thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one.
See you later.